Hey, it is Monday night, and I was just messing around here, and I figured, oh my gosh, I better jump on before everyone is in bed. How are you guys this evening? It's Dawn, and I definitely need a booster seat. I am shrinking, and I need to do this during the daytime when the sun is shining in my office. So I just wanted to talk to you a little bit tonight about we are on, what day are we on? We are on day 6. I can't believe I'm still going after day 6. This is one of those things where the content gets a little bit tougher and it's a little bit more challenging to talk about some of these things, because in talking about concepts like character and trust, a lot of times it puts us in a really vulnerable place for you to be able to understand what I'm truly talking about. I'm going to make sure that the sound is down here so we don't get interrupted. But the title tonight was charisma or character, right? And I want to talk to you a little bit about this because at the end of the day, trust is the most essential component to all of this. Nothing is established without trust. It doesn't matter if it's a business relationship, a family environment, a marriage. Hey, Melissa, how are you? Thanks for jumping on. I see several friends here with us tonight. And so I'm going to share a few personal things with you tonight. I hope that's okay if you don't mind. And because I really think that it makes a big difference when we're understanding some of these concepts. Hey, Chris. Oh my gosh, girl, the countdown is on to California, and that's one of the things I'm actually going to share with you tonight as we embark upon this topic. And gosh, I don't even know where. It is a huge topic, and I'm like, I have to put on my glasses so I can see all the comments that are flying in. And if I missed your comment, I'll definitely go back and address it a little bit later. But let's think about trust for a moment. Trust is something that for many people, we trust openly. I know that I'm the type of person that wears trust on my sleeve. I'm led with a heart. I had a couple private messages last night from some people that picked up on a couple things, and I lead with my heart. And right, wrong, indifferent, it's just who I am. It's part of my character. But the important thing to know is that with that, because of my personality, if trust is broken, if I lose trust in you, if I lose confidence in you, unfortunately, I'm the type of person that it's gone, right? Is there anybody else out there? And I went back and watched some of my videos, and if I give you permission, if I say the word right, that's one of my tics apparently that I'm doing these days that I never realized that I've done in the past. I honestly have never done that before, so it's cracking me up that I keep using that. So you have full permission to call me out on it, and I know a few of you will, so you're going to be sitting there with a little tick mark here for every time I said the word R-I-G-H-T. But leadership and trust, it goes hand in hand. So think about any environment where you've been in, where trust has been broken, and how quickly the walls come crashing down when somebody breaks your trust, and it could be in any particular environment, and somebody's not walking the walk or talking the talk. And I don't care. It doesn't matter how charismatic you are. It doesn't matter how gifted you are. It doesn't matter how talented you are, how competent you may seem, right? And you see them all the time. You see people with such posture. They're savvy. They're confident. But if people don't trust you, the relationship's going to go nowhere. I always say people do business with people that they know, they like, and they trust. Trust is the biggest component of this. And if you're a business person, I want you to think about the relationships that you establish. And I watch it happen all the time. I watch people in superficial conversations not really listening to the other person all the time. The way they're so focused on what they want to say next or the point that they want to get across. And it took me years to become a really good listener. And sometimes I get really excited to see Italian in me that jumps out, and I want to get some words in edgewise, I want to get my point across, or I want to make sure that I'm heard, and I have to reel that back in. And because the trust doesn't get built in that relationship when you're constantly trying to fulfill your own agenda. It just doesn't happen. So what does trust look like? How do we establish trust? It's people follow your lead. They do what they see, right? It's about just more than lip service and more than preaching to somebody or telling somebody what to do, but it's coming alongside people. I work in a space with a volunteer army, and I try to love on my people as much as I possibly can, whether it's my clients or my business partners. I don't consider myself above them. I consider myself a resource or somebody that can come alongside them. And that's really, really important. I definitely am getting a booster seat for these dining room chairs. But character and integrity, it's the epitome of this topic. And this particular topic is solid ground, and really what it comes down to is trust. It's establishing the trust. I think of business professionals all the time, and if I say or right, you guys have full permission and authority to call me out on it. But I see this happen a lot of times. High achievers in any profession, they'll spend so much time, effort, energy, money, resources on improving their professional skills, but they don't spend any time working on their character. They don't spend time developing character, integrity, the things that really matter. Stop and think about that for a moment. Think about yourself as a business professional. How much time, effort, energy have you put into going to classes, going to events, polishing up, and you definitely need to do that in terms of professional skills. I am not dismissing that by any means whatsoever. But how often are you looking at the inside of you? How often are you investing in programs that access the spiritual side of you? I made a note here. There was, oh gosh, and now I don't even know where it went. But the spiritual, the intellectual, and the physical. See, I have to get notes to keep me on track here. And when you focus on the spiritual, when you focus on the insides, when you go through, I went through, and most people don't know this, and this is some of the vulnerability that I'm going to share with you. I went on an 18-month sabbatical a few years back, probably about 5 years back in my life. And I kind of cut myself off from the outside world. I had to really figure out who I was on the inside, what was my relationship with Christ like, and whatever you believe, that's what I believe, and that's the foundation of everything that I am and who I am, right? And so I had to get that relationship right first and foremost before any other relationships in my life could sync up. I had to figure out who I was spiritually. I had to figure out who I was emotionally. I had to unpack a lot of baggage that I was carrying around. Remember yesterday I was talking about people being, that victim or that persecutor or that hero, right? People have to play one of those three roles. And it was me. I always was like, either I was a victim of something, or I was blaming somebody else for something, or I had to be the hero to everybody. I had to do everything for everybody. And I just had to stop all of that. And so people thought, like, what had happened to me? I wasn't going out with girlfriends for drinks anymore. I wasn't going out for dinners anymore. I was spending a ton of time in church. Okay, and here's the funny part of it all. One of the things that developed so much of my character was I said it again. I wound up in a marriage ministry certification group. I was a single person, guys, and I was raising 2 young kids, and I'm like, how in the world did I wind up in a marriage ministry certification program? I thought God was playing a funny joke on me at that point in time. But I look at that and I see how he was preparing me, how he was growing me spiritually, how he was growing my character as a wife, And when Larry and I met, there's so many moments where the old subconscious tries to creep in. and I have a check and balance. I have a register now in my brain and in my subconscious that goes, no, that's not a great way to respond. This is a better way to respond. But had I not invested in myself at that level, I wouldn't be the person I am today. And I still need work. I still need lots of work. But I think that's the part of this particular topic that's so important, is to be able to look at myself, or for anyone to look at themselves and go, you know what? I could step up. I could be a better partner. I could be a better husband. I could be a better wife. I could be a better parent. I can be a better leader. I can be a better business builder. I could be a better mentor, friend. I can really step in and start to use my voice. So when we think about where we're developing, you can spend all the money in the world that you want on continuing to develop your professional skills, but if integrity and if character is not at the core of your foundation, you're not going to go anywhere. The infrastructure is going to crumble. You're not rooted to something that's probably the most important piece to this puzzle. So I think of leaders, and a lot of times what you'll see is people following other people. I know I did when I stepped into my new business a few years ago. I looked around me and I kind of assessed, and I knew what I was looking for. I knew the voices that I wanted to hear from. I knew the type of people that I was willing to let speak into me, right? Because I had become very protective over my space after having taken an 18-month sabbatical, and after having, enrolled in that marriage ministry certification. It was the biggest, deepest look at myself that I had ever taken in my entire life. And I am so grateful for it. It took me until the age of, I don't even want to tell you how old I am, because that'd be being too vulnerable and too honest. I said, again, guys, don't let me do this. So when you think of leadership, and when you think of leadership from the capacity of who it is you want to follow, whose voice do you want to speak into, I really encourage you. It's not about, again, their visibility. It's not about their charisma. It's not about their confidence and how savvy they are and how gifted they are or how smart they seem. At the essence of it, it has to be, what is their character like, and what is their integrity like? And so when I started to watch all of the people across the scope of the company that I'm in, there's some amazing voices. There's some beautiful people. Hey, Dan, hey, Lisa. And so I had to get really, really clear about who I was going to allow in that space. And what I had to do was I had to look at their heart. I had to look at their integrity, their authenticity, and the discipline, the daily habits that they put into their life and their business on a day-to-day basis. I didn't only look at them based on their position or their productivity, okay? I looked at them based on philanthropy. What were they doing outside of the walls of their business, right? I did it again. Who were they partnering with? What was the message that they were speaking into? I really, and there's some people that, get me really emotional when I think about this, because I'm like, yes, there's so many people that are very good at being deceptive across the board. And we see it whether it's politics, and I am not going to get into any political conversations here on this platform at all. But if we look at what's going on in our world today, I try to be very neutral. I try to not get involved in political conversations. I simply want to love on people, and I want to bring people to the level that they want to be. And I am very conscious of what that does to my character, right? It just it derails me. It sucks my energy. And most of us, we only have so much energy to give at any particular point in time of the day. And I really want to ask you what you're spending that energy on and who you're spending that energy with. So if my business is made up of volunteers, right? My people need to know in my organization, my business partners, and I'm not talking about my people as being subordinate, because I don't see them that way at all. I actually see many of my leaders going above and beyond anything that I could possibly imagine or accomplish, because I just so want to breathe life into so many of these amazing men and women, because I see so much character, so much integrity, so much potential in what they can do. They just haven't seen it for themselves yet. And at the end of the day, people need to know what you expect from them, right? They need to know that you're going to be there. They need to know that you're going to walk the walk and talk the talk. I want to share with you for just a moment, because this is really important to me. It's that this whole trust thing is tied around right motives and people doing things for the right reasons, and people doing things for the purpose of making things better for everybody else around them. So there was 3 things, and I said, you know what, if I'm looking at my own personal motives for where I'm at in my business and what I'm doing, what are they? And a lot of people don't realize this, so I'm gonna just take this opportunity and I'll be a little vulnerable and I'll share with you, because I think that there's no particular topic that's more poignant for me to have that opportunity to open my heart a little bit and let you catch a glimpse as to, you know, behind the scenes, why I do what I do. And gosh, nutrition is at the forefront of it. But there's other reasons behind that, and I'm going to share that with you. Gosh, where to even start? So let's talk about nutrition first and foremost, and from a nutritional perspective, why I do what I do. I have such a passion. I love food, guys. I'm Italian, for Pete's sakes. The thought, and I'll never forget, and I am embarrassed to say this, but when I was with previous companies, I would sit there and I couldn't understand why some dear friends of mine had stepped into this space. And I'm like, well, at some point in time, these people got to stop drinking shakes. I mean, I legitimately said that because I didn't know what I didn't know. And most people don't know what they don't know, right? We just we speculate about what we think it is, or we've misunderstood because of somebody else's lack of understanding. And over the years, I've come to appreciate, with an autoimmune disease and with diabetes being rampant in both sides of my family, I have ridiculously high cholesterol and it's hereditary. I was coming to terms with aging. And so I started to have to clean up my act several years ago, and I got involved with, you know, an organic and gluten-free food company, and I love that space. And I started to see what was going on in big business and our food, and I started to see what was going on with kids and the obesity epidemic. And they anticipated, I think one of the statistics, and don't quote me on this, I'm just throwing out some statistics that I've heard, was that almost 50% of our adolescents would be diagnosed with some form or on the cusp of diabetes by the year 2020. And I heard that several years ago, and that to me is just staggering. It's like, what are we doing to these kids? And as a parent, I sit out there, my daughter plays softball, my son plays basketball, baseball, and I watch what these parents are feeding these kids in between games. I played softball for 30 years, and I coached girls high school softball. And one of my policies with the girls was, and if I have any of my past girls on here, you can vouch for this. If they were caught at a vending machine drinking soda or packing on sugar, candy bars, or stuff from the vending machines before the game or practice, they were sitting. I wouldn't play them, and I didn't care because I knew what was going to happen. And so I think about some of these things, and that's one of the reasons why nutrition became such a passion for me. I saw what good nutrition did for my husband and I. But I want to get a little bit deeper than that, because I really want you to see the authenticity here in this moment. Some of it might bring a few tears to my eyes, but I'll try to compose here. But when I talk about integrity, it's that honesty. And I want to be completely 1,000% honest with you here. And I hope somebody watching is sitting there going, yep, that was me, and I'm so happy you said that tonight. Authenticity. I don't play politics. I don't pretend. But a lot of times you don't hear me speak the truth because I don't think the timing is right or appropriate or relevant and discipline. And I have gotten so much better. I think that was one of the things that I walked away with from the competition this past year was I am a shiny object kind of girl. And if there is a gopher on the golf course, I'm like, oh, look how cute he is. And I used to get really, and sometimes still do, get easily distracted, but I was able to commit to something that was so intense, and it required day in, day out discipline, no matter how hard it was. Yeah, squirrel. I mean, I'm the one chasing the bunny, cute little bunny rabbits on the golf course. So, and Kathleen knows me all too well. We were 14 when we met. And no more secrets there, Kath. So I wanted to share with you, though, some of my other reasons why I do what I do. I've been in this space, if many of you don't know or know, I've lived a lot of different lives. And I had a background in sales and marketing. I was in the hospitality industry for many years. Thought I was going to be a teacher when I grew up and decided to go back to school and get a high school teaching certificate with background, emphasis in psychology because I love understanding people, right? I said it again. All right, you guys can call me on that one. And I really kind of accidentally fell through life. How many of you have ever done that? You just kind of accidentally fall into the next space. And every time I fell forward, and I fell forward, sometimes not so gracefully, I learned and I grew. And it really changed things for me in so many regards because I don't think I'd be the person that I am today had I not had so many failures and learning opportunities. And I really don't consider failures in the capacity of not accomplishing something because I've learned and I've grown from each and every one of those failed attempts, if that makes sense. And so I stepped into this space of network marketing and direct sales back when I was 18 years old, believe it or not. And I have a cousin, he's probably on here. And he introduced me and cast the vision of what this opportunity could afford me, for the difference that it would make in my life. And I was 18 years old and I caught vision then. And I still have that passion and that drive and that motivation. But I dabbled with a lot of companies, and I look back and I was like, oh, I was with that company for 5 years, but what did I do? I didn't do anything with several of those companies, not to the level that you need to commit, not to the level that you need to be disciplined, right? So why? As I grew to love this business and this industry, I will be 1,000% honest with you. I was in one company, number 2 in leadership development. Got a big shiny award for that. In another company, I was in the top 6 in group organizational volume. Got a nice piece of paper for that. And in another company, I earned a car. And I still have the signed thing saying I earned a car. But not in a single one of those companies did I ever peak over a 6-figure income. I earned a car. I was in the top 10 like twice. I was in the top 2 and I still never made, and that was kind of like my threshold. That was kind of what I wanted to accomplish. That to me was a huge marker. And I really became gravely disillusioned with this business, this industry. I didn't think it was possible. I was like, how could I be that high or have accomplished that much? And I got really sad. And then all of a sudden I had an opportunity to step in on the corporate side. That was the first time that I had actually seen a 6-figure income in this space, but I had to be on the corporate side to get it. And I'll never forget, somebody said to me, and this, guys, I still think about this. I had somebody ask me in my first corporate position why I ever left the field. The speculation was that any of those individuals in those corporate positions left the field, and this was told to me in a small group, because we failed, because we never really accomplished anything. And I was mortified because I knew the men and women that I was surrounded with, the reason why they stepped into a corporate role was because at the time I was a single mom. I needed the benefits, I needed to survive, right? I knew that was the case for many of these other individuals. And I was angry. I was really angry that here I am and I'm at a great place, the peak of my career, and I have somebody questioning my intent. Somebody questioning if I really had the skills or if I really had the ability. And that stuck with me for a while. Coming out of the corporate side, it was, again, by a series of consequences that happened, and Larry and I stepped into this space, and it was purely to use the product. It was not to get involved in the business. And I kept looking at it and I kept examining it, and I understood enough, and I looked at the compensation plan. And there's a part of me that still believes so powerfully in this opportunity. I still had the depth of vision that I had even more profoundly than when I was 18 years old. I knew I had so many friends and past colleagues that came from the same space where they had been disillusioned. They weren't being fulfilled by their careers. They wanted something more for their families. And I knew that this potentially could be that place I was looking for, but I was too afraid to say yes. Because the perception was by peers, or by, I should say, other individuals, that I had failed in my past. So I didn't want to put myself back into that place to be vulnerable, because what if I did fail? Like, what if I really flopped this time? This was a completely different space for me, so what if I really didn't get it? And it was hard. The first year, oh my gosh, it was really hard, but I stuck to it because I have that conviction and that confidence, and I know it doesn't matter if somebody's looking for an extra $300 to $500 a month, and that leads me into like my second passion. I believe in the institution of family so much. Going through that year of marriage ministry certification as a single person made me more convicted than ever to the family unit and to the importance of marriage and to the power of whatever I could do and however I could make an influence in those lives, that I was going to do it. And so financially, I know that this opportunity, okay, and this is my reason why. I'm not trying to sell anybody on this. I'm not trying to convince you, oh, you need to be here. I'm just talking from a place of authenticity so you can know me a little bit better and know my heart and know why I'm here and what's going on. So I know that an extra, and I can't remember the statistic, and again, I'm not here to be like Wikipedia, but one of the statistics that I heard at one point was that an extra $300 to $500 a month could save over 50% of marriages today. I want you to think about that for a moment. So if I could have a direct influence not only on somebody's well-being, somebody's health, somebody's wellness, the obesity rate, helping kids to make better decisions, helping just so many people at that level. And wow, what if I can add the extra income to families today? Because I truly believe that this is that opportunity. What if I could do that? And so it started to boil inside of me. Like this love and this passion for this industry all over again started to boil inside of me. But the most important reason that I'm here and in this space is not only for all of my team and for all of the women and men that are my clients and they want to reach goals. I had one woman, and I want you guys to hear this because this is so very important. And I'm never going to reveal names, but I ask clients all the time, like, and I have women that come to me that want to lose 10 or 15 pounds. And I say, all right, I know it's not the weight. What is the 10 or 15 pounds? What does it really mean to you? Because that's important. That's where my heart is, because I know it's deeper than that. And I had one client tell me one time that she wouldn't cringe when her husband went to touch her. Guys, that's why I do what I do. Because it affects marriages, even at that level. And guys, sometimes you don't realize it, and I'm sure guys feel this way too, and we're gonna hear from Larry next week. But when a woman doesn't feel confident in her own skin, when a woman doesn't feel like just well inside, it affects everything else. It affects her marriage, it affects her family, it affects everything, her energy, her business. And so that's one of the reasons that I stayed. But most importantly, I had this vision for my family. I had this vision for the lifestyle that Larry and I wanted to lead. And what many of you don't realize is that my sweet husband and I, sometimes for months on end, are apart from one another because of the way he has to travel for work. And there's nothing more heart-wrenching for me than to have prayed, and I prayed for him for 5 years, to have prayed so hard and committed my life so much to my faith and to Christ, and to have had an amazing husband poured into my life, because he is my blessing, and to have him gone for long periods of time. So as I build this business with friends and colleagues and people I want to see the world with, I'm also building this business so that I can live in a marriage with my husband and we don't have to be separated. And I hope you hear my heart, because I want nothing more, not only for that for myself and for my family and for my kids to all have us under one roof, but I want that for other families too. I want that for other spouses, so that you can fill the gap financially, so you don't have to be apart, so you can take the trips that you want to take with your children and give them experiences of a lifetime, so that I can help single mamas, because I was a single mama for 5 years, and it was hard. It was hard, and an extra $300 to $500 a month would go a long way for a single mama. So when you hear me, when I'm sharing with you, you have to understand that the foundation of everything I do is built on integrity. And I hope my character rings true. But I really wanted to share this with you because this solid ground is the most important part of all of this, and that's trust. Thanks for letting me share with you this evening, you guys. I love you, and I'm so grateful for you. Have a great night. Bye.